much, Councilwoman Mendez, for organizing today's event. It's absolutely imperative that we're all here today to speak out about this case and about the epidemic of rape that occurs in New York City. I'd like to commend District Attorney Cy Vance for not hesitating to indict this case and for putting the full reasons of his office behind it. Without question, the two women who had the sex crimes unit, Lisa Friel and Colleen Bauer, deserve a great deal of recognition for their being tireless and exceptional sex crimes prosecutors. We commend Commissioner Ray Kelly for swiftly terminating Kenneth Moreno and Franklin Mata and ridding them from the NYPD. It was the right thing to do. It was the only thing to do. But most of all, I stand here today to give recognition and applaud the woman who was at the center of this case, who fought for justice. She didn't have to do it. She was already packing up her apartment, heading across the country to a new job. But she stood up for her rights, she stood up for justice, and she stood up for all of us in doing that. It was not an easy road, and she knew it was not going to be an easy road. This verdict was nothing short of shocking. Women are angry. Women across this city are angry because we know all too well this feeling, and our anger is justified. This case had overwhelming evidence. The victim's testimony, however, was disregarded, reduced to insignificance. Audio tapes of the defendant admitting to using a condom and to being the only one to rape her were disregarded because the victim was making a scene and he needed to calm her down. I don't know too many people who would admit to such a heinous crime because they wanted to calm somebody down. The story from the beginning never added up. In the court of common sense, they are guilty. We have to ask the question, as we move forward with this case, did her sex life play a role in how the jury felt about her and what they thought of her credibility, her character? Did they blame her in part for what happened to her because she was out and drunk? These kind of cases are often incredibly hard to prosecute because it is often the victim who's more on trial than the defendant. Cases like this that appear to be such travesties of justice stay in the public conscious for a really long time, and it affects the way we think about rape, and it affects what rape survivors do. They weigh these type of decisions when they think about whether they should come forward. And this is why that 5 in 1 women, 1 in 5 women are raped or experience attempted rape. Less than half, only 40% of them ever reported it. And that translates into 6% of rapists ever spending a day in jail. And we saw that play out here today. So, thank you for coming. I hope that this case does stay in the public conscious and that we learn from it, and that we continue to seek justice for the many women that are victims of sexual assault in our community. Thank you.
The co-chair of the Women's Caucus, Jessica Lappin, could not be here today, so I will read her statement. I am saddened and dismayed by this verdict, but mostly I am inspired by the woman who had the courage to seek justice and speak out. I hope this will not deter other women from doing the same. Now I'd like to call up my colleague from Brooklyn, Councilmember Tish James.
Thanks. The criminal justice system is not perfect, but the criminal justice system is a system that I respect. As a former criminal defense attorney myself, I recognize that this verdict yesterday demonstrated to the world and to the city and to all women the imperfections of the system. The defendants were presumed innocent when they walked into the door. But unfortunately, the victim was presumed guilty simply because she was intoxicated and because the defendant used a condom. There was no evidence. The credibility of the witness of this woman, this victim, was on trial. It was her credibility, and because of her intoxicated state, and because she could not remember certain facts, the jury felt that it did not rise to the level of a presumption, and it did not reach that level of standard beyond reasonable doubt. But the reality is that her lifestyle was in doubt as soon as she walked in. Her intoxicated state was in doubt. The event itself was in doubt because she was a woman. But she did the right thing. She called the police because she believed in the police, because she recognized that they were there to serve the public. But unfortunately, they betrayed their badge, and they betrayed the public trust, and they abused their power, and they preyed upon this woman. And so any reasonable person, if you use that standard, which I recognize is not the standard, would have rejected the testimony of this defendant and his co-defendant. And they should have been convicted of the most serious charge, because this sends a chilling message to all women, that if in fact you exercise perhaps some poor judgment, or if in fact you're intoxicated, then you should be blamed for your situation and for the circumstances, and that is what has happened. And so I stand here today outraged, despite I have trust in the criminal justice system. I stand here outraged that this was a perverse abuse of discretion and power by these two police officers. And I'm happy that yesterday Police Commissioner Kelly and the Mayor of the City of New York dismissed them. But I want to send a message to all individuals who would prey upon vulnerable women. It is unacceptable to take advantage of a woman in that state. And a no is a no is a no, even if you're intoxicated. And so these two individuals who got off, who were shocked when the verdict came in, you could see it on their face. They got away with it. But you can best be assured that all of these women here today will ensure that this never, ever happens again. And that the next time we should make sure that our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. And that we should convict all individuals who would take advantage of the situation. I stand with these women. Today is a sad day to step backwards in the women's rights movement. But we stand strong. We stand strong today to let any pervert know that if it happens again, we will be in the courtroom next time. And we will demand that justice is meted out fairly with a verdict of guilty.
Lessel, Executive Director for the New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault.
Hi, everybody. All greatly shocked and saddened yesterday by the court verdict. All of us who work in the anti-sexual violence